Hi there, and welcome to the Multiply You podcast, where we showcase top experts in their space and reveal all the secrets you need to know to multiply you.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Austin Clark here, host of the Multiply You podcast. I'm really excited to be here once again. We've had some phenomenal guests on lately, and I'm excited that, as we record these, we're probably about 6 weeks or 8 weeks out and when they'll drop. But, as we sit right now, it's kind of the middle of November, and a lot of these will start to drop at the beginning of the year. And so I think everyone will be in for a real big treat. Really excited to be able to have Patrick Boland on today of ScherZinger, the ScherZinger organization, and some of the things that they've kind of figured out. We'll talk a little bit about the history, some of the things that we're all facing as it relates to the economy, different practices as it relates to employees and their development and retaining them and recruiting them and those sorts of things. But before I do, this episode is brought to you by my company, Moxie Pest Control, as they all are. And we have been very fortunate the last, not just decade and a half, we have during that time period too, but especially the last couple of years to be able to grow in really a hyper growth environment. We've done it a lot of the same ways that you have, all of you that are parts of home service organizations or own home service organizations. We've done it through pay-per-click. We've done it through mailers. We've done it through social advertising. But one of the things and one of the ways that we've done it has been via acquisition. We have found that there are a lot of people out there that are looking to know a little bit more of what the next chapter of their life may look like after they've been a part of or built this organization and are looking to exit. And so if that's you in any of the markets that we serve, there's 35 of them today as we count, please get a hold of me directly if you'd like. I'd love to have a conversation, even if you don't know what that conversation looks like initially. And you can reach out to me directly on my cell by calling or texting me. It's 480-254-9730, or you can email me directly at aclark@moxiepestcontrol.com. And I would love to be able to have some of those conversations with you. Patrick Boland, so there is not, in some of my rough guesstimates of those that are part of pest organizations or landscape organizations, as far as applicators go, there are probably less than 1%, maybe less than 0.1% that have their ACE credentials, their Associate Certified Entomologist credentials. And Patrick, you do. And I'm going to put you on the spot right here as I'm kind of working through your bio. What percent would you, if there's, and I'm just making a round number to make math easy for me, if there's 10,000 applicators out there throughout the United States, how many of those are certified applicators? What percent have their ACE credentials like you do?
Gosh, I want to say it's, there's probably 1,000, that have across the country that have the ACE credential. I could tell you that I got mine in 2006. So I was like number 49 or something in the country. So I thought it's a great program, and I encourage anybody to go after and take that exam. It's a very challenging exam, but it's well worth having the credential.
It's about that thick, it's about 2 encyclopedias stacked on top of each other. You'll, your brain will be a little soupy after that. It was a heck of an accomplishment in 2006. I think that it's even more of an accomplishment now. There aren't just 10,000 applicators out there throughout the United States. There's probably hundreds of thousands of applicators. And to be part of that really small elite group is something. Patrick has been in the business forever. He's the director of operations of ScherZinger Pest Control that operates mostly out of the Columbus and Cincinnati regions and everything else in between. He develops and implements processes that help with efficiencies and probably improves inefficiencies in the business. Patrick's been in the industry for over 21 years, previously as a technician, so he's been there, done that. He's not someone that's just come in at the top and is able to say, hey, do this, do that. He's actually been out there, like many of us, in a vehicle and knows what we as operators and field people go through and experience day in, day out. Like I said, he's got his ACE credentials. He's a member of the Entomological Society of America and member of the OPMA Education Committee. Very glad to have you, Patrick. Thank you for being on. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great on this lovely winter morning. I mean, you're out in Arizona. I'm in Ohio where it's snowing, so we got that to deal with.
You know what? This is the only time of year that I'm able to kind of snub my nose at everyone else in the country, because May through October in Arizona, it is not the place to be. It is just boiling hot. But this is why people live here. It's the cool weather, warm sun, and there's not a cloud in the sky for almost as long as you could see. Certainly no snow.
Right.
Well, Patrick, you've been at this for a long time. Maybe we could start with some of your path and kind of how you've got to where you are. I mean, how did you start in the industry? Where did you start, and how has your 21 career so far just in the pest industry led you to be the director of operations of a very established, well-known company that's just providing phenomenal service in the regions that you operate in?
So I always tell people I got into this industry by accident. In 1997, I was being laid off from my job and knew somebody who was in the industry. And I go, this will be a 3-month gig and then I'm out. Just an in-between job. And 25 years later, here I am. Fell in love with the industry from the beginning, with the people in the industry. As you said, I started as a technician, doing the grunt work, literally climbing under, homes and drilling the whole 9 yards. I took it upon myself to learn more about the industry, learn more about the services. With that, promotion became pretty easy for me. I was promoted, within a few years to being a field supervisor. And at that time, our field supervisors did a lot of quality assurance work with our teams. Over time, I became more entrenched in the industry and wanted to learn more, not only about the industry, just about bugs in general. I was never a bug geek when I was a kid. It's something that just came on as an adult in my early 20s. And I got the opportunity to become technical director after getting my ACE back in 2006. And for nearly 14 years, I was technical director and did a lot of training, trained literally hundreds of technicians, not only just for our company, but also throughout Ohio through the state association.
Very good. And so fast forward to now, and I don't know, other than what I looked at the last couple of days online, but you are the director of operations at ScherZinger that mostly operates out of Ohio, if I understand correctly. What can you tell us, if anything, about the organization? I mean, how many people do you supervise? How many vehicles on the road are you responsible for? Or maybe that's a fleet manager that you have stewardship over, sort of thing. And then I want to get into just a lot of the things that all of us are facing, whether we're in the landscape business or pest business or garage door or HVAC business, just as it relates to recession, labor, inflation, all of the things that make operating a business interesting and fun.
Right. So we've been in business since 1934. We're a 4th-generation family-owned business, which is great because I've got to see actually 2 generations work in the business. So I'm very excited about that. We currently have 104 employees, which equates to about 65 technicians out in the field.
Wow.
And I mean, the rest obviously being support staff that we have. So we have approximately 75 roughly fleet vehicles right in that range. So, and we have different types of technicians. We have residential, we have commercial, we have our specialty services technicians that do all that that interesting work that takes a little bit more.
And what of that falls under, Patrick, your stewardship? Are you perhaps maybe not directly, but are you managing the fleet? Are you designing the processes for residential general pest control and your residential termite solutions? And commercial mosquito program, do you develop all those and say, hey, this month, because of the weather, we're switching to this product line for, and so are you involved with the recruiting and onboarding and continuing education of all the field and perhaps office people as well? How does that look?
So I want to say yes to all the above, but out of our roughly 105 employees, 100 in some form or fashion report directly up to me. We do have an HR manager who I work directly with recruiting. We develop a recruiting plan, and I basically say, I need so many people in this market, and this is what we're going to do. As far as our processes go, our current processes I developed over time as our technical director. But currently, my technical director that I have working for me, that's his game. That's it for him to continue to refine those processes to make us more efficient in what we're doing.
Very good. So you don't sleep. You work 25 hours a day, 9 days a week. When there's a lot that flows up to you. The last couple of years have been interesting. I think the next couple of years will be interesting. What are some of the challenges that you feel you have faced in your role and perhaps as an organization? And then what, if any, success stories do you have perhaps as it relates to just the current climate of everything that's going on as it relates to employee and employee care, recruiting, retention, inflation, but maybe a recession that we're going to get into here soon, although it doesn't feel like it. What would you say to some of those points?
Well, I think some of our challenges have been what most people have had is with recruiting and retention. I mean, for probably the last 4 to 5 years, it seems like recruiting and finding good people has become more and more difficult to do. I think we've done a pretty good job, particularly in the last 2 years with recruiting. And we do a lot of recruiting and utilizing all of our people with referral bonuses when a current employee refers someone that we hire on. That's really helped us, keep and maintain our staff. But then you need to retain those employees. And of course, last year, everybody was talking about the Great Resignation and trying to.
You don't hear a lot about that anymore in the news, by the way.
That's right. You don't, but you have, what's the new buzz term? The quiet quitting.
Sure.
That's the new one. So, through that, that time last year during, that Great Resignation, we really didn't experience that much of it. And I think a lot of it was how we actually involve everybody within our organization. We encourage them to bring ideas to the table. We encourage them to share these ideas and debate, maybe changes that we're implementing within the organization, and getting them, to feel part of that has helped us quite a bit. In addition to that, about I guess 6 years ago, we reestablished our core values as an organization, and we hire based off of these core values. And people have really taken to that. And, when we constantly talk about our core values, it's something that they believe in, not only in their personal life, but also in their professional life as well.
As it relates to the core values, those are always things that have been really interesting to me, because I feel like the companies that are in any space doing it really well, it's not just a poster on a wall. It's not just the same 5 words that you see everywhere of being honest and integrous and customer service, or some variation of some of those words. But it is really, as you've said, and I think part of this is key, is having that something that is alive and well and talked about often, not just in the recruiting process, but in the onboarding process, in regular weekly or monthly evaluations and annual reviews, how well we're doing in each one of those types of categories. How was that process, Patrick, for you guys in the ScherZinger organization? Did you have a business coach that helped you guys along the way? Did some of the just top people get in a room together for a long weekend and hammer those out? Were there any resources as far as books or other resources that you used to help you kind of establish those core values?
What we subscribe to the EOS system. For those who don't know, EOS, the Entrepreneur Operating System, that's something that we've really engaged with, and it's really helped our business not only develop and re-implement these core values, but just to problem solve on a weekly, quarterly, and annual basis. And, getting into that system and really letting everybody and communicating everything throughout the entire organization as far as what our plans are for the next year, what our goals are for 3 and 10 years, has really helped our folks understand what we're trying to do and what we're trying to accomplish. Before then, a lot of folks felt like they were in the dark. They just didn't know. And now what we do is we communicate that, what we're doing, what some of our projects are, what some of the changes we want to implement to help us all grow during that 1, 3, or 10-year process.
Yeah, I myself am a really, really, really slow learner, and I really mean that. It just takes me a long time to learn things. I have to read them multiple times, or hear them multiple times, or do the process or program multiple times. And one of the things that I found as it relates to values, or just anything that you're looking to be able to implement in general, is communication is key. I mean, if you're not communicating in your organization very transparently and very regularly, people, for whatever reason or another, they tend to think the worst. They tend to think the company's going out of business. We have no money. All of our vehicles were vandalized over the weekend. Even if these things have no basis, the company's being sold on Monday, and we'll be unemployed. None of our customers are paying bills. And so it's been interesting to me as I've had more frequent conversations inside of our organization, just where people's minds wander to naturally, and to continue to communicate, hey, we're here for the long haul. These are our core values. This is what's important. This is what we're doing. Here's the opportunities you can have as we grow. These are the things that we're measuring you on as it relates to success. And I would imagine 6 years ago, as you guys laid those out, what a breath of fresh air, not only into your organization, but any organization that would look to invest their resources into really established core values that everyone can resonate with and feel that they have a connection to. The next thing that I kind of had a question about as we kind of prepared a little bit before we went live was, we're technically, I guess, in a recession. It doesn't really feel that way, perhaps, because there's just been so much money pumped into the economy to be able to prop it up. But it is a very real thing. Gas is a heck of a lot more than it was a year or two ago. Products, I feel like from our manufacturers, I get an email every day or every other day, 5% increase here, 10% increase here. Hey, we don't even have any of this, and so if you want a bunch of it, you better buy it now, because we don't know. We don't know when it'll be available next. Vehicles, I mean, the vehicle that we use is and I'm so bothered by this. We used to use pickup trucks, and then we kind of, as an organization, in large part, switched to the Dodge ProMaster Cities, those kind of mid-sized vans. There was kickback about that at first because, it's a van, it's not a truck. And, then after 5 minutes, people got over it and they love the vans. And now I understand that they are discontinuing not just Dodge and their mid-sized vehicle, but Nissan is discontinuing their mid-sized van, or I think it was like the NV 2500 or 1500. Ford and the Transit Connect, they're discontinuing it. But the good news, Patrick, is that Mercedes is not discontinuing their mid-sized vehicle, and that one only starts at $60,000 or $61,000. And so, I'm like, man, we just bought a whole fleet of these things, and it'll last us for a few years. But then, maybe they'll have started them back up by then. But what are some of the things that you've experienced and are doing, perhaps, as it relates to inflation, increased in our cost of goods sold. Our vehicles are costing more money. The gas that we put in them is costing more money. Wages, as everyone that I've talked to, have increased. I'm very happy about that. That's a positive thing. But when everything is costing more money, that means that there's less money left over at the end of a month or quarter or year to be able to reinvest back in to the company, period. And in the story, that's it. Your margins go down. And so could you speak maybe to some of those things?
Gosh, so I just heard a podcast. I can't remember which one it was a few weeks ago that consumers are holding on to $1.2 trillion right now.
Wow.
For whatever reason. And again, there's a lot of fear with the market. I keep hearing about the housing bubble's going to burst, and there's a lot of fear that's out there. Obviously, with the cost of goods completely going through the roof, gasoline, the whole nine yards, it's a major concern from our customers' standpoint and our employee standpoint. So, how do you overcome that without having to, raise our own prices, through the roof? Because, we're paying more, gas costs more. If you can find a vehicle, it costs more.
That's the other part of it, just inventory, right? And used vehicles cost just as much as new vehicles, and you can't get either because of the chips that are not available, and it's a crazy time.
Right. So, it's about, efficiencies for our business and what we're, looking to, look to do to make ourselves even more efficient. For a number of years, we've used some routing softwares to help us improve those efficiencies. We continue to use that. We're tightening up our schedules to where we can spend more time with our customers, yet they're more close proximity to other customers as well. So that's helped us quite a bit. So, we can actually do more with less employees by using some of those efficiencies. Obviously, with the cost of goods going up, we've had to do some price increases, and we're trying to keep that to a minimum. Hopefully next year, knock on wood, we don't have to do, much more again. But, if we do, it's how do you bring that value to that customer, that additional value to our customers? And, the one thing we continue to talk about, it's really easy to fire the pest control guy. It's difficult to fire Austin or Patrick. So it's building those relationships, even more, and reaching out and communicating even more with our customers, more than we ever have, via text, via email, via phone calls. So we can continue to grow that base and show that value for our customers.
Yeah, very good. And I've heard that, as it relates to goods or services, you can have two or three things. And the three things are, it can either be affordable, fast, or a quality good or a premium good. And so you get a pick. Which do you want it to be? It can't be all three. And so it seems like a lot more people, and I think Amazon has kind of messed the fast thing up for everybody. So the days of getting a phone call from a potential pest control prospect and saying, oh yeah, we can be there next week or in 2 weeks or whatever. No way. It is, because of Amazon, same day or next day.
Right.
And if it's not, there's 100 other companies in town, at least, that they can call that may be able to do that. I don't know that being the cheapest option anymore works, especially with inflation and what things are costing anymore. You're operating on razor thin margins to begin with. And so as consumers, we kind of get to decide. And I think that there's a lot more flexibility and safety, perhaps, or a safety net in getting there fast and providing a premium service. And the premium part of the service needs to be part of it. You'll be found out very quickly if you're charging a premium price and delivering less than that.
Exactly.
Your clients won't be around very long. What interesting things have you? I was having a conversation on the show a couple of weeks ago with a good friend of mine, Mitch Shipman of Blue Beetle. He operates out of Kansas City. He's got a fantastic company there. He shared some kind of fun things that they were doing as far as recruiting goes and finding new people, because he's growing just like you guys are growing. What are some things that you guys have done in the organization to find new talent? Is it internally produced with an internal referral program, or do you guys offer a signing bonus of some sorts, or what does that look like?
So what we've been really successful at is these referral programs, and we tell our folks, if you're out and you experience something really great with somebody, it may not be a customer service person. You may be at the gas station and someone just helps you out. Give them a card and see if they're interested, and let's start talking a little bit, talking more about us as an organization. I mean, we're really lucky in Ohio. We're pretty well known. To give you an idea, my grandparents had our service, so everybody knows the name. And so when we start talking, and they go, "Oh yeah, I know this person or that person." So the conversation is pretty easy, but just getting us to talk to anybody about, coming to work for us, that's really helped. And, what we've done is with our referral program, if you refer somebody, we will pay you on the day they start. Then we pay you at 6 months and then again at 1 year. And I always say that if I can get somebody into our industry and have them for a year, I've got them. They're going to be in the industry because you fall in love with it. I mean, you fall in love with the people, you fall in love with helping. And it's, like I always say, I love helping people. It even gets better when I get to help people and get paid for it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty awesome. So that's really, really helped us. I was actually on a phone call with my HR manager this morning about recruiting for next year, and we start doing a lot more recruiting coming January for the spring. And we've already got people talking to their friends and family members about, hey, why don't you come work for us?
That's awesome. And what a buzz, and how great to be able to use that recruiting budget to keep it in-house with the people that you want to have it the very most, rather than I won't say any by name, but the big recruiting platforms out there where you can send your resume in and that sort of thing.
Right.
One of the last things that I wanted to ask is, what have you found, if anything, the last 2 years? There's a lot more of the younger generation coming into the workforce. What have you experienced that people want today that is important to them, as they've come into the company the last 2 or 3 years, that maybe hasn't been not normal, but traditional? What are new hires and employees requiring or requesting that they haven't the last decade or two?
I will tell you, the one thing that's been interesting is people I'm sorry, I'm going to call them kids. These younger folks that are in their 20s, they want to feel part of something. They want to have purpose behind what they're doing. And, I think with our industry in particular, we can give them purpose. When we talk about, we are the front lines of protecting public health and talking about that and what that really means, you see their eyes just get really big. And, giving them that purpose, but also letting them know, hey, you're part of this. It's, even though you're not the owner of the company or you may not be in management, you're part of it and your opinion matters. And, you've got great ideas because you have unique life experience. And being able to share that, has really helped the younger folks, stick with us. Actually tomorrow I'm doing a career day at a high school because a lot of kids don't think about going into, pest management. I was 22 years old when I got into this, and I could tell you it was not even close to being something I would get into. But having these conversations, early on, saying, hey, this is something you can do and you can make a great career out of it. But giving them that purpose is something I think everybody's always wanted that, but it's really come to the forefront over the last couple of years, that people want to have purpose in what they do.
Yeah, and what a great note to end on. There's this workforce. They're full of energy. They're full of great ideas. I think they're misunderstood in a lot of ways, but they are willing to work and be a part of something, but they want it to be well worth their time. They want to know that it will have an impact, not just today, but in the years to come. And then they certainly have tons to offer. Most of our organization is very young, and it's just really exhilarating to be a part of. Patrick, this has been a lot of fun for me. I appreciate you being on. If people want to reach out, continue the conversation with you, what's the best way for them to do that? Do they find you on LinkedIn? I would love to get a website for the company and the organization, but what's the best way for people to get in contact with you if they want to?
So best way, LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn, Patrick Boland, Boland. You can also reach out to me, my email, pboland, PBOLAND at stopz, the letter Z, bugs.com. And that's actually our website as well, is www.stopzbugs.com.
Awesome. Patrick, thank you so much. Appreciate you sharing just a few of the many, many, many nuggets of wisdom that you've accumulated over the years. And really good to be able to have everyone tune in. Thank you. These are dropping every Thursday, and can't wait to do it again. Until then, create a great day.
Thank you for listening to the Multiply You podcast. You'll see us again soon when you subscribe for future episodes.